Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us here today, and we're going to start off the show by talking gymnastics with Becky Roll. Becky, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
So you had a meet this past weekend at UWL. We had to get that straight at the end of last show, but tell us, kind of in your words, your thoughts, how the meet went.
Well, I choose to look at this meet not based on the score that we received, but rather the performances. We learned a valuable lesson. Warm-ups went really rough for us. For whatever reason, things weren't going our way, and kids were struggling with different skills, and so we really didn't know what to expect, in the actual competition. So, I just pulled the kids aside and I said, you guys, we're here to show who we are. Bring out your pride and trust your training, and let's put this together so we can show this audience who we are. And they took such a mature step forward in accepting that as a reality. Yes, we can trust our training and we can do this well. And our performances were really, really good. And normally in lacrosse, we have a really hard time on their floor. It's a tighter floor. So we went 6 for 6 on the floor routine, which is a huge success for us. I feel that we had personal bests in performances in like 6 or 7 kids. Like some of our routines just really, really excelled at that meet. And so that's what I'm choosing to look at, is the things that we did really, really well. We overcame that adversity in the warm-ups, which is something we haven't had a hard time with this year. And for whatever reason, on that day, on that moment, different equipment, different this, whatever, I don't know. But, that was a growing step for this team to say, hey, we can calm ourselves, get focused, and put this together. And the personal improvement in so many of the routines just makes me excited for what's to come. And once again, a reminder that the win-loss record doesn't have any impact on our season whatsoever, other than personal pride. But the growth in our team towards that final product at Regions, that's what we're looking for. And that's what I saw great hope for in this last meet.
Yeah, and that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. March 7th is Regions in Eau Claire. So let's back up just a little bit. You kind of answered this question, but I kind of want to expound on that a little bit more. How much does the warm-up kind of affect what you perform at? I mean, do you see a correlation? Is it, if it's a good warm-up, you're going to have a good meet? I mean, I know you got the team together and you talked, you just said that, but I mean, how often does that kind of match what happens during the meet?
There is no correlation to speak of. Sometimes you have the best warm-ups of your life and then the meet doesn't go well, and sometimes it could be vice versa. And there isn't a significant enough pattern to say bad warm-up, good meet, good warm-up, bad meet kind of thing that I could say this is a definitive. But a team without character and without heart can't overcome that warm-up that was really rough. They're not going to be able to do this. And this team has that heart and that passion, especially after spending this last weekend together in Louisiana. Their connectivity has grown, obviously, and their relationships have grown. So, they got themselves together and got their wits about them and overcame that. So that to me is just really just almost as fun as doing well when you warm up well. In fact, it's more fun because it's like, wow, we warmed up like a disaster, but look what we put on the floor. So
you mentioned that at UWL you tend to struggle a little bit because the floor is a little bit different, or the apparatus a little bit different. So do you practice different heading into UWL week because you know that, or do you just kind of ignore that part?
If I would mention to the kids that they're probably going to have a hard time on floor and they would have that in their heads all week, then they would think that all week and they'd be worried about it. I choose not to tell the younger kids that the floor is tighter. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just tight. It's really tight, and ours is really, it's got a lot of spring to it. So if I warn them about that then all week long, hey, do this or this or this, I don't want them to worry about it. So we get there and they go, oh, boy, this floor is so hard or whatever. I'm like, you have to adapt. You have to give, and the most important thing is to make sure that you use your good technique. And, if you squeeze and stay tight, the floor is very forgiving. So when they get there and they recognize that, then we can do well. But we've almost always had falls on floor there just because of that floor and being so tight. So this was a win for us just to get the 6 routines up and have them do well.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the floor then. Chelsea Zaire, 9.325, Kennedy Utz, 9.325. Big, strong seasons. They were 5th place at the meet. Talk about their routines.
Both of them, between Kelly, Ken, and Shell, I think had the best routines of the season so far. I mean, they look beautiful. I fully expected Shell's and Ken's to both go 9.5s, 9.6s. I mean, they were stellar. They were gorgeous, and the judges saw it differently. And Kelly's coming along strong. She's a first-year floor kid as a senior this year. So she's coming strong and getting consistent, and she looked great. So, you know, we'll see what the judges reward them this week, but they're on a roll. They have great quality routines, and they have high level of difficulty in them. So I'm hoping that they're rewarded this weekend.
Okay, and then Megan Tran had 4th place on beam, and Cora Geiger, who's our guest today, 5th on beam. Talk about their routines a little bit.
Cora's routine is critical to the performance of the beam squad. She's the lead-up girl that starts the beam squad off every year. And without her calmness and her demeanor, like if we put anybody else up, they would be rattled. It's like you go up and you have to do your skills on a 4-inch beam, and you're the first one up, and the team's counting on you to set the pace. So Cora does a fabulous job of that because she has a very calm nature about her. So she gets up there, and you can just feel that she's like, I've got this, and she's methodical about her performances. And so when she hits, everybody just falls into that pattern and does well. And Megan's routine was so exciting because we had her throw the 3 acro series like Kelly Johnston does. First time she's ever thrown it in a meet, so she goes handspring, layout, step out. Nailed it. And she's a senior doing this for the first time too. Wow. So when these kids are growing, it's just really fun for me. And she's like, I can't believe oh my gosh, I didn't think I'd be able to do this in my life or whatever. And so it was a great success story for her coming back, especially from that Achilles injury.
And then this weekend is going to be your home meet at McCowan Gymnasium on Saturday, 2 p.m. Tell us a little bit about what fans can expect if they show up this weekend. Well,
we're going to be fired up because it's our last home meet of the season, which always gets us, pumped and excited to come on, bring in the fans and fill the house if we can, and hopefully everybody comes and supports us because we have 7 seniors that will be doing their last routines on their home floor, and we haven't graduated a large senior class like this for a while. So, it's going to be one of those emotional, kind of tough, challenging days for them to get through because it is their last hurrah, but yet they're going to want to do their very best. So, and they've got the rest of the team behind them. So we have senior nights and our parents' nights. So we'll have the parents here from around the country. Hopefully, several are coming. So I think it's just going to be a fun meet for us.
All right, about a minute left. What does senior night mean to you? We'll talk about that more next week as well, but leading up to it, what does that mean to you?
The senior night is always hard on me. I mean, the kids get choked up when the girls talk about them. They do a little presentation or whatever, and I try not to do it because I want it to come from the kids. But I sit and listen to what they're saying, and I feel and remember everything that they're discussing. And I sit back there and I get choked up and I start, teary-eyed and whatever. So that's why, I mean, for this particular group of kids, what we've been through and shared together, it's hard to let go. It really is. And, they come in as raw and unpolished and mini adults, and they come out of our program with just a great attitude about life and being caring, wonderful people, and they're ready to take on the world. And their maturity and their growth is really fun for me to watch. And so it's kind of like letting your kids out, but knowing that they don't come back at Christmas or Thanksgiving, so it's tough.
Very good. All right, well, hopefully people show up at Saturday at 2 o'clock at McCowan Gymnasium for the last home meet of the season. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, Cora Geiger will join us right after this.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price. Perfect. Is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-60.
Hometown is about how you can do big things in small towns.
6 years ago, nobody wanted to buy a house on this street.
When you improve the homes in a community, the entire town gets a new life.
Big boy coming through!
It's just really incredible to be a part of something like this.
This thing is perfect.
And I hope that it just starts a wave throughout that neighborhood.
All new Hometown, Monday night at 9 on HGTV.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. Cora Geiger joins us. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you are from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. How did you get here to Winona State from Canada?
Well, in Canada, they don't offer any college gymnastics teams, and I knew that I wanted to continue doing gymnastics in college, so I started looking in the U.S. and found some D3 schools and got into contact with Becky and came for a visit and fell in love with the program in Winona.
All right, very good. So what was the tipping point for Winona? What was it, kind of same type of climate for it, or what was that like?
Well, yes, it definitely feels like home. It's very similar climate to Canada, but the team was just very welcoming, and it felt like a really good fit and felt like family here. So.
All right, I want to go back a little bit in your gymnastics career, and one of the interesting things that I found out about you was when you were 14, you represented your province, Ontario, in the Eastern Canadian Gymnastics Competition in Newfoundland. And that is a long trip, because basically where you are in Ontario, you're right above New York State, and it's, well, I looked, it'd be a 37-hour drive if you drove from where you were to St. John's, and I think it's like an 8-hour flight or something like that. But tell us a little bit about that meet and what that was like, so young to be traveling so far for a meet.
Yeah, that was one of the first meets that I actually got to compete as a team, because there was the top 4 at what we call provincial championships. Got to compete at Easterns, so that was the first time that I got to compete as a team and see what it felt like with a team, and it actually made me want to come do college gymnastics as a team. So it was a really exciting experience, and I had a lot of fun in Newfoundland. And
then personally, you were the level 8 all-around champion, and your team was the champion as well. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't expect it at all, because that whole season I was kind of just middle of the pack, and then towards the end I guess I peaked at the right time and did very good routines, so it was a lot of fun, really exciting.
All right, I'll ask you, what does Cora bring to this team?
Everything. she just has a wonderful relationship with all the kids. She's very friendly, very open. She's just got a maturity about her that she came in as a freshman, and we talked back and forth before we brought her here several times, and I was just impressed with her right from the get-go, and I was like, we need this kid on our team. So I just love her demeanor. It's always positive, it's always upbeat, she never gets down. She doesn't have a bad day, so that's the kind of kid you want to work with. I mean, that's a kid that you're drawn to, but also the kid that you can count on. I can turn my back and know that she's going to do the assignment well.
All right, well, as Coach said, you're the pace setter on beam. You get up there first. Tell us a little bit about that, what that's like to have the first routine and to basically show the team the way, I guess.
Well, it means a lot to me that the team and Becky trust me with that position every week and to be the leadoff. I actually prefer that position in lineup, because then that way I can have my routine done and then fully support the rest of the team and their routines and whatever they need. So.
All right, since I'm kind of a newcomer to gymnastics, and maybe some of our viewers are as well, what is the difference between starting or maybe going last or somewhere in the middle?
Well, normally the leadoff is somebody you want is very consistent and is very calm to set the mark for the rest of them to go up, and so they can really feed off of that and continue on with success of the lineup.
Okay. As we said, this weekend is going to be the last home meet. What does that mean to you to have your last home meet coming up?
Well, it's really exciting for this home meet. It's senior night, so all the juniors put together the speeches and the stuff for the seniors. So it's going to be really exciting. A little sad because of the seniors leaving, but it's going to be a fun meet.
So then do you talk about all the different seniors, or do you have one that you're going to talk about?
Yeah, there's only 3 juniors this year, so some of the sophomores are going to help us out because there's so many seniors. But we'll all talk about each one of them and say a little bit something about them. All
right, very good. What do you personally have to do to be successful this weekend?
I just have to continue to be confident in my routine and just work on the little things. Becky always says, find an extra tenth in your routine that you can do better. So just finding those little tenths and continue with the confidence in my routine. All
right, very good. Well, good luck this weekend, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll talk track and field with Mason Rubarczyk. That's right after this.
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Getting the right look at the right price.
Perfect.
Is always in style at Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
As soon as I hit record, this happened. It's like once in a lifetime thing.
People say this forest is haunted because of Slender Man.
The hair on the back of my neck stood up.
The Army Corps of Engineers saw it.
I left the camera that I used running.
All new season of Paranormal Caught on Camera starts Wednesday at 9 on Travel Channel.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. We'll turn now to track and field with head coach Mason Rabarchik. Thanks for being here again this week.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And a good weekend for you in Mankato.
It was a lot of fun and very exciting. A lot of good stuff happened. Yeah.
All right, let's start by talking about a new school record. Anna Rogan, who was here earlier talking about a school record that she broke a different one this time in the mile run. Second time in 3 weeks that she broke a record.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The time that she ran this weekend broke the school record that she set last year at the conference championship. And that time at that meet got her into the national meet. So we're hopeful that this time will be enough to get her in as well. But yeah, it was a pretty exciting race. She's never looked so strong and confident the last couple laps of a race. So she ran really well. It was a lot of fun to watch.
All right, I've said many times my math skills aren't very good, but it looks like about 2 seconds she broke her record. In track terms, how much is that?
It's just 2 seconds.
It's just 2 seconds.
Yeah,
okay.
It's hard to quantify that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, any record you break, I mean, whether it's a tenth of a second or 2 seconds, but yeah, I mean, 2 seconds over 5 minutes, that's pretty good.
All right, very good. And then let's talk about then the 4x400 relay.
That was pretty exciting as well. We knew we were going for a big time. Mankato's sprint coach and I had been talking about it, and it's a funny thing about our sport is that you do talk to the opposing coaches ahead of time sometimes, and but we both knew that we were going to load it up and try to run fast. And in all the years that we've made the national championships in the 4x4, we've never qualified earlier than the final week of the regular season. We've always run pretty well this past week, but never fast enough to matter, so we've always had to go back again. So to run as fast as they did a week earlier than we usually do in terms of the training cycle was pretty incredible. And to run second fastest time in the country, I mean, that's pretty exciting. We've never been ranked that high before. And then also the other crazy thing going into the race, about 10 to 15 minutes out, Shireen was supposed to run on the relay. She came up to me and said her quad was bothering her, and we thought, well, better the thing I say all the time is live to fight another day rather than run and get injured and then jeopardize the team running a good time. Let's sit today, make sure we're better for next week. And she's fine now. Okay. So 15 minutes before the race, thankfully we had one of our alternates warming up for just in case something like that. And so I had to go up to Allison, a freshman, and say, hey, Shireen's out, you're in. And her reaction was priceless, not expecting to run, and just putting her on a relay that's trying to run a big time. And she got in that race and ran incredible. We got through Callie's leg, and I looked down at the split, and it was fast enough, to have a good time going. Jonna was the second leg. She ran great. Looked down at the split again. It was fast enough. And so here we go, a freshman jumping in, the deep water, and she gets around the track and ran incredible. Fully, I think a second or more faster than she ran in the open 400 2 hours earlier. Wow. And so Brooklyn got the stick, and it's like, okay, this is a big one. So we're back and forth with Mankato the whole race. I think Brooklyn maybe 5 meters back at the most, and the last 50 meters of the race came back, and the place was just loud. All of Mankato's people screaming, all of our people screaming, and it was what you want a track and field meet to be. So Brooklyn just kind of caught her in the last 20, 30 meters and ran a huge time to put us number 2 in the country. So pretty exciting. So Mankato is sitting number 3 right now. Okay. And so for 2 schools from our league to be sitting in the top 5 like that, that's pretty exciting.
Do you think that the immediacy of the moment kind of helped your freshman run? If she had maybe a couple days to think about it, do you think nerves might have set in?
Probably. Yeah, I told my wife when I got home, I said, I love when a freshman reacts that way, when they're scared out of their mind and don't have time to think about it, because they just go and run as hard as they can until they can't run anymore or until they hand the stick off. And I think that definitely was an advantage, just kind of the extra adrenaline, like, I didn't know I was going to run, and I can't believe I'm about to run with these other 3 girls that are as fast as they are and do what I'm about to do. So it was pretty exciting. She was pretty thrilled to be a part of that.
All right, very good. Let's move on then. Oh, I wanted to go on one thing here. If people read the wrap-up and they see provisional qualifier, there seems to be a little wiggle room there. So what does that mean?
I thought you might ask. It's probably the most confusing thing about our sport, and it kind of dates back to pre-internet days where you'd have to fax in when somebody did something big. Well, you don't know what's big unless there's a mark.
Okay.
And so that provisional mark means, hey, your mark is good enough that it makes the list. Well, with the internet the way it is, everybody that runs makes the list. I mean, the list is 1,000 people deep.
Wow.
You just have to look at who those top 20 people are or whatever to make the national meet. So provisional means you've run a time that could potentially get you into the national meet. But at the end of the day, when the season's over and the committee gets together to select the team or to select the individuals that make the meet, it's approximately 20 per event. And so that's where it gets kind of confusing. It could be 18, it could be 22. There's a certain number of bodies that the NCAA brings to the meet. And so they take 18 in every event and say, all right, how many bodies do we have left? Well, we've got 40. Okay, we'll take one more. How many now? Okay, one more. And so then when they get to that point where they've got, let's say, 20 in every event, they say, all right, we've got 5 more people we can bring to the meet. What event are we bringing them? And so that's where they're kind of splitting hairs to find that next person. So it's kind of a system that I've actually tried to get us to change at the Coaches Association level, but you know how people are with change.
Exactly.
People they fear change, and so we'll see if it changes in the future, but that's our system for now.
All right, very good. And then one other question I wanted to ask about these multiple trips to Mankato and being on the same track. Has that helped you a little bit and helped the team to have a little bit more familiarity with where they are?
I always wonder that. I'm not really sure. I think, you know, having the familiarity, and for some people that comfort level is good, but at the same time, like you said, the freshman that doesn't know what's coming, I think sometimes a new environment can kind of bring that excitement a little bit. So I think it's probably different with each individual, how they approach that, but I don't look at it as a positive or a negative being at the same site.
Okay, and then any other performances that you want to talk about?
Yeah, Madison Reisner and Christy Springer were 2 big ones. Madison, you know, obviously being a volleyball player, she's not even with us all year, so the short amount of time that she's been training, the bar that she cleared is second all time on our top 10 list, and I want to say a half or a quarter inch, I think a half inch short of our school record that stood for 15 years now. Wow. So basically the bar that she was attempting, that she went out at, would have been not only a school record, but a mark that typically makes the national meet. So she's real close. And then Christy Springer, who's slowly been progressing back to where she got to last year, had a nice jump, 1170 something, I think. Usually it takes 12 meters 20 something to make the national meet, so she's within striking distance, and she wasn't a week ago. So nice to see her getting back to where we kind of expected her to be by the end of the season. So that was exciting too.
All right, last minute of this segment. What's coming up this week? It's the last tune-up before the championships. So do you have the full team going? Is there any rest period here?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it last week. It's sort of individualized. Everybody, we have a different strategy. Some people need that last opportunity to run to try to make the conference meet. Some people, it's just kind of we run one event as, like you call it, a tune-up. And some people, it's just a lot of different things that we do with the meet. So I think most everybody that's healthy is going to run. There's maybe 4 or 5 people that were comfortable with where they're at on the conference honor roll as far as making the meet and feel like a week off would be better. But pretty much everybody else is going.
All right, sounds good. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, Brooklyn Shavink will be with us. That's right after this.
This is Bobby Flay.
I'm coming for you, Bobby.
They say he's never had to eat his words. But if he did, they'd be delicious. They say the word flavor was named after him. They say he can make an omelet without breaking an egg.
We were hoping for that.
They say you can beat Bobby Flay. What do they know? Beat Bobby Flay, Thursday night at 10 on Food Network.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price. Perfect. Is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-60.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. Brooklyn Shavinck is here. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I want to go back to your time in high school. You were a multiple sport athlete in high school, team MVP in basketball, in volleyball, and in track and field. Tell us a little bit about competing in all those sports in high school and maybe what's a couple things that stand out for you.
Yeah, so I mean, I loved all the sports. I loved volleyball, I loved basketball. I still miss it, but I'm glad I chose track in college. I think I just chose track because, like, both my sisters before me did track, and so it's kind of a track family, I guess, so that's what I chose to play in college.
Okay, and how did you kind of get into your specialty and running the 4x4 and then running the 400 meters?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just having like my oldest sister running the 400 before me, they just assumed I was going to be good at it too. So I just got thrown into that and worked out for the best, I guess.
All right, now I know there's a little bit of a sibling rivalry that I've seen kind of on social media. And one thing that you did in high school was you broke one of your older sister's records, who's now at UWL in her senior year. Tell us a little bit about what that was like for you to break your sister's record.
Yeah, it was actually my oldest sister that I broke.
Yes.
But, I mean, she was super excited for me. I never really thought about doing it. Like, I guess I did, but right when I crossed the finish line, she was right there. She was, like, crying because she was so happy for me. So we never, like, argue about it. It's just a fun little rivalry, I guess.
Okay. Tell us about this weekend in the 4x400. Obviously, we heard a lot from Coach about it, but from your perspective, how was that?
Yeah, I mean, going into it, we didn't know how fast we were going to run. We knew we wanted to run really fast. I mean, we want to qualify for nationals. That's the goal. And so we just always are just, like, hyping each other up. Like, we got this. Like, we just got to go and just run our hearts out and as fast as we can, and whatever happens, happens. And so it was just really exciting, and just the atmosphere was just great. And so we just went and did what we could.
All right. For you, what does Brooklyn bring to the team?
Well, I think I said last week just how consistent she is. And I told her we had a meeting this morning actually with the 400 group talking about the 4x4 and that how much I trust her on the anchor. You know, that whether we're in the lead or behind, I can trust her to just chew up the competition and just do a great job on the anchor.
All right. Now, you have been to the NCAA championships before. Tell us about your previous trips to the championships.
So, yeah, my freshman year, indoor, went for the 4x4, and it's just a great experience. Like, there's nothing really like it. It's just an honor to run against all those great teams in the country, and to be an All-American my freshman year is just something, like, that's super special to me, and to do it with my sister was even better.
All right. One thing that I saw is that, at least in high school, you had a superstition of eating a bag of fruit snacks before a competition. Does that still carry on here?
No, it actually doesn't. Yeah, now I just don't eat anything really before like 2 hours because I just think I run better on an empty stomach. So, yeah, I don't eat fruit snacks anymore.
Okay, very good. What do you do this week now as the NSIC championships are kind of looming? How do you prepare for that, and what do you kind of do in practice now?
Well, we just kind of back off, like be tapered a little bit so our legs are fresh, and just keep eating right and sleeping a lot, or enough, not really a lot, but just get the right amount of sleep and drink a lot of water. Just got to be as prepared as possible.
Okay, and then as far as conditioning or actually running, what's kind of your workout during the week before meet?
Well, so Mondays we normally do like 2 fast 300s, and then today, since our meet's on Friday, it was like our off day. We do just like a recovery day in the weight room with like ellipticaling and stretching, and then tomorrow I think we have 200s. And then Thursday is just the pre-meet, little shakeout, and then Friday's race day.
All right, and then the last question that I kind of talked to Coach about doing all these different meets in Mankato. Does familiarity with a track and with an event kind of help you? How does that factor in for you?
For me, I think that it definitely calms your nerves. You've been here so many times. We've ran this race so many times on this track, so like we know we can do it. But like he said earlier, I think going to a new place is exciting, and it might kind of bring more energy, but I don't know. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, congratulations on the 4x400.
Thank you
For being here today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks.
All right. And thank you for watching Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We'll see you next time.